All right, let's talk about something every role player knows. We want to keep the story moving, right? Well, today we're diving into a system that's all about speed and creativity. It's a new way to hack your hero's abilities so your story moves as fast as you can think. You know the feeling. The game is hitting its stride, the energy is high, and then, bam, everything just stops. You've got this amazing idea, but the entire table grinds to a halt while you wait for the GM to figure out what you can and can't do. That awesome momentum, just gone.
So why does this happen? What's the deal with this narrative traffic jam? Well, the material we're looking at today really zeroes in on a problem found in a lot of traditional games, what it calls a stop-and-go gameplay loop. And here it is, right? Instead of being the hero driving the action, you can feel more like a passenger, just waiting for permission to do something cool. This whole stop-and-go thing creates a bottleneck, and that bottleneck is usually the game master, who has to approve every single move. It just slows the whole story down. All that waiting and debating rules leads to something the source calls cognitive fatigue. And that's just a fancy way of saying it's that moment the game stops being fun and starts feeling like homework. You spend more brain power figuring out the rules than you do actually playing your character. But what if we could just get rid of that bottleneck? What if we could put the power to act right into the player's hands? That is the entire philosophy behind the system we're exploring today.
The system has a great name for this: directorial agency. And it's a total game changer. You're not a passive actor waiting for your lines anymore. Nope, you're the narrative architect. You get to decide the most effective way your hero tackles a problem by combining their talents in some really cool ways.
Okay, so this sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work when you're sitting at the table? Well, it all boils down to a super flexible and, honestly, really intuitive way of building your dice roll.
Now, the source uses the term skill trees, but I want you to forget everything you think that means. This isn't some rigid, pre-planned upgrade path. Think of it more like customized problem-solving on the fly. You're basically given permission to look at your character sheet as a toolbox and combine any two things on it for a single, powerful 1d20 roll.
So let's see how this works. First up, you can mix an ability score with a skill. Imagine your rogue is at a magically sealed gate. Instead of asking the GM, can I listen to it? You just declare, I'm combining my dexterity and my arcana to listen for the faint click of magical tumblers. See? It's proactive, it's creative, and the game just keeps on moving.
You can also stack your knowledge by combining two skills. Let's say your scholar finds some weird magical ward, but it has this divine energy to it. You can just say, I'm rolling my arcana plus my religion to figure this thing out. It's a perfect way to show off your character's very specific niche expertise. And here's where it gets really fun. You can even combine two of your main ability scores. Picture a barbarian who wants to quiet a restless mob. They could combine strength and charisma, bending a huge iron bar while delivering a booming speech. It's a totally intuitive solution that, let's be honest, a lot of other systems would really struggle to handle smoothly.
So, being able to create the perfect role for any situation is basically the engine driving this whole thing. And when you take away that constant debate over which skill to use, you get two massive benefits. The game speed's way up, and your solutions get way, way more creative. You know, game designers actually have a name for this. They call it the flow channel. It's that perfect sweet spot where you're challenged but not frustrated. You're fully engaged. And by putting the power to make these creative decisions directly in your hands, this whole system is built to keep you and your friends right in that creative flow. So let's just put them side by side. The old way? It often means a really high cognitive load. You're waiting, you're breaking the immersion, you're arguing about rules. This new way? It's all about creative flow. You think of a cool idea, you declare your role, and the story just charges ahead.
And look, this isn't just some clever house rule we're talking about. This is a core part of a unified design that's all about consistency, and it's even got an eye on the future of gaming.
All of these creative rules, they get measured against a single, unified 1 to 100 scale for difficulty checks. It's so clean and consistent. That logic is the backbone of the whole system, and it makes it incredibly easy for players to understand. In fact, the source points out it's so logical that even an AI could understand it and use it to help build adventures. It's a design that's really built to last.
So, all this leaves us with one last question to chew on. When you give players the power to hack their own heroes, the game becomes less about finding the right rule and more about imagining the coolest solution. So think about your favorite character for a second. If you could combine any two of their talents right now, what impossible challenge would you tackle first?